The story of true friendship. Alex and Danny. In the small American town of Haverhill lived two boys, Alex and Danny. Alex was born into a millionaire family. His father owned a chain of hotels across the state, and his mother was a renowned architect. He wore the finest clothes, was driven to private school by his chauffeur, and never knew what it meant to need anything. Danny, on the other hand, was born in a worn-down house on the outskirts of town. His mother worked night shifts as a nurse, and he barely remembered his father. Their old car often broke down, and Danny's shoes were worn thin. But he had something that money could never buy: sincerity, kindness, and a dream of becoming an engineer. Despite the difference between their worlds, Alex and Danny met on the playground when they were 5 years old. Alex had lost his new toy airplane, and as he wandered tearfully among the swings, Danny spotted the toy in the bushes and happily returned it to him. From that day, they became inseparable. Whenever Alex invited Danny to his grand mansion, his parents were at first surprised, seeing the boy in worn jeans and a hand-stitched backpack. But when they saw the light in their son's eyes when he was with Danny, all doubts disappeared. Danny taught Alex simple things: how to fly a kite, how to build a fort out of branches, and how to enjoy the small moments. Alex introduced Danny to books that opened doors to big dreams. Years passed. They entered university together. Alex majored in business administration and Danny in engineering. Even with different faculties and busy schedules, their friendship grew even stronger. But then came the real test. Alex's father's company collapsed during a major financial scandal. Their mansion was sold, Alex's mother fell ill from stress, and Alex was left penniless. And you know who was the first to come to help? Danny. He offered Alex a place in his tiny apartment. They bought cheap ramen together, laughed about making ends meet, and worked night shifts to pay their tuition. It was then that Alex realized all the luxury he had before was nothing compared to the wealth of true friendship. Years later, Danny opened a small engineering firm, and Alex, through perseverance, became the head of one of the most respected companies in town. But when reporters asked Alex about the secret to his success, he always said, "My greatest fortune was meeting a friend who didn't abandon me when I lost everything." And when Danny finished building his first bridge in town, Alex personally came to the ribbon-cutting ceremony, standing proudly by his friend's side. Their friendship survived wealth, poverty, and the test of time. Because true friendship is not measured by money. It is measured by loyalty, kindness, and being there even when the whole world turns away. Continuing the story, more years went by. Alex and Danny realized that their success was not just a personal victory, it was a responsibility. They often remembered how hard it had been for kids like Danny growing up, when even school shoes were a luxury and doing homework meant sitting under a single dim light. One evening, sitting on the old bridge Danny had built, they talked about the future. "You know, Alex," Danny said, looking at the sunset, "I want to build something bigger than bridges. I want to build hope." Alex smiled thoughtfully. "And I want to build a place where kids can dream." That's how the idea was born. They would create the Center of Hope, a large building filled with free classes for underprivileged children, workshops, sports halls, and a cozy library. A year later, thanks to their combined efforts, the help of local residents, and their own savings, the center was built. At the grand opening, a line of children and families stretched down the block. Alex stood at the entrance in a simple suit, with Danny, now graying at the temples, smiling beside him. They watched the bright eyes of the children and knew every sacrifice had been worth it. Inside the center were robotic sections, art studios, a small theater. Children were taught, encouraged, and believed in. Danny personally taught a young engineer class, showing boys how to build models of bridges and houses. Alex organized scholarships for those dreaming of attending college. One day, a small boy named Tim approached Danny shyly. "Mr. Danny, I want to build a bridge in Africa so kids can go to school." Danny, unable to hold back tears, hugged the boy and said, "You will build it. We believe in you." And what happened to Alex and Danny? They grew old together, known as the wise grandfathers of Haverhill. They often declined honors and awards, preferring to sit on the same park benches by the center, quietly watching children run, play, and dream. One warm spring day, Alex felt his time was drawing to a close. He sat on the old bench, holding a worn photograph. Two little boys,
one in a fancy shirt, the other in worn jeans, laughing together on the playground. Danny came and sat beside him. They sat in silence for a long time. Then Alex said softly, "Thank you, Danny, for everything." Danny squeezed his hand and answered, "No, my friend, thank you. Without you, I would have never believed dreams could come true." That evening, hundreds of paper lanterns filled the sky over the Center of Hope. Launched by the children to celebrate the anniversary of its opening, the lanterns floated upward, carrying dreams, hopes, and the warmth of two hearts that had once, long ago, decided to change the world. Epilogue. Years later, at the entrance to the Center of Hope, a new plaque was placed, dedicated to Alex and Danny, friends who showed the world that true friendship builds bridges across any distance. Every child who passed by the plaque would stop and ask, "Who were they?" And the adults would smile and say, "They were two friends. One was rich, one was poor, but their hearts were equally great." How they grew up. As the years went by, Alex and Danny continued to grow, not just in age, but in heart, wisdom, and purpose. Alex, once the wealthy boy who had everything, lost it all in his teenage years. But instead of becoming bitter, he became stronger. Living in Danny's small apartment taught him humility and resilience. Working part-time jobs and studying late into the night, he learned what it meant to fight for a future. When he graduated college with top honors, he didn't return to luxury. Instead, he launched a startup that helped small local businesses go digital. It was simple at first, a few websites, a few clients, but Alex's honesty and hard work made it grow. By the time he was 35, he ran one of the most respected companies in the region. Not the richest, but the most trusted. His motto remained, "People come first." Always. Danny, the boy in the old overalls, never stopped dreaming. He studied engineering like his life depended on it. He loved bridges, not just physical ones, but bridges between people, ideas, and opportunities. After college, Danny worked for a public construction company, and although his salary was small, he made sure every project he led helped someone. He became known for building safe, affordable infrastructure in poor neighborhoods and rural towns. He later opened his own firm, focusing on sustainable construction, using recycled materials and eco-friendly methods. But no matter how busy they became, every Sunday they met at the same park bench from their childhood. Alex would bring coffee, Danny would bring stories, and together they would talk about what mattered most: how to make the world better.